strikers. Grab them, pull them in. I'm gonna start. I'm gonna try to finish as fast as I can to let you guys go back to your friends and family. Yay, I know, yeah, don't worry. I go fast. And if I go too fast, just like, do something, you know? Okay, I'll try. I'm gonna get started.
Yeah.
If you're not in the room, that's fine. We're gonna skip this little activity in the beginning. We're gonna be talking about reflective practice groups. That's what we're gonna call them. You can think of them as RPG for short. It also means role-playing game, which is teaching anyways. We're just playing a role. Drama, all of those things, okay? So let's reflect on what is a reflective practice group, okay? And you can look up this term on the internet if you want more information. This is what we'll be doing as part of our PD, okay? Kind of giving power back to teachers to kind of facilitate for themselves the topics that are important, when and where, and we'll get into the more details. We're still hammering those out, but I always want to start with some quotes. So, reflection begins when an individual is perplexed or uncertain about an idea or situation and strives to arrive at an appropriate solution. Okay? We reflect when there is ambiguity. Right? We reflect when there's issues, when there's difficulties that we're facing. I don't think most really, really happy people just. You should reflect on your happiness. Okay? Think about gratitude as well. This is from Dewey, 1933. Reflection is an ongoing process that involves re-examination of what was done, analytic thinking about goals and actions in order to achieve the desired results. Okay? First, we need to know what our results are. Right? We need to have goals. We need to kind of figure out where we are as teachers. Okay? Whether we are in an advanced stage where we can help others, we still might have blind spots. We'll get into that. And Schoen talks about reflection in action, okay? This is being in the moment, awareness of the moment. Reflection on action, okay? This is looking at the past from a distance. And Killian and Tubman talk about reflection for action. I'll tell you why we're talking about these four things. A lot of this material I got from my colleague Burak Aydin. So reflection for action is thinking about the future, okay? We can kind of think about this in a graph. We love graphs, right? So think about this when you're reflecting. Are you reflecting in the moment? Okay? Are you teaching and thinking about something that's happening? Are you stressed because of something? Okay? After the class, when you walk out of the classroom, are you thinking about what went well, what went poorly, what issues you have, and then how do you plan for the future? So we're talking about reflection in so many different ways. And we have this Kolb's learning cycle. You guys can do more research on this. But we first start with an experience, we reflect on that experience, we analyze it, and we make change, and we keep doing this over and over again, right? So think about an issue that you have in the classroom, maybe a weakness, a shortcoming, something you want to focus on to make stronger, and think about that experience. We're going to be giving you topics every week. We're going to come up with them. We're going to base these also on the survey results that were given to us. So we're not going to just be pulling things out of the dark. And we're going to try to align it with the curriculum schedule, right? So when assessments come up, that'll be the time when you'll be talking about assessment and feedback. And so hopefully they align for all of us. We'll figure that out. Okay, everybody know the Johari window? No. You do? Awesome. Okay, great. So what is it? I always like to kind of use some kind of metaphor when I'm talking. We have a quadrant. I love quadrants, okay? What's known to yourself, what's unknown. What's known to others, and what's unknown, okay? The first one's the open self. This is easy, right? Everybody knows, the other person knows, and you know, okay? So this is something you can self-reflect upon, okay? The hidden self, that's what we call the secret, right? So you know it, known to self, but is unknown to others. This is something you carry deep, secrets. You bring it home with you. Maybe you took something from the teacher's lunch, you ate somebody's lunch, something. Some kind of secret. You can reflect upon that on your own, you know, in the dark. So yeah, when we talk about the open self and the hidden self, those quadrants on the left, that are about yourself, we can self-reflect upon these things. We'll come back to this. So self-reflection. You can gain insight to your thoughts, feelings, actions, and experiences. Anything else? And this can lead to an increased self-awareness, improved emotional regulation, better problem solving. We start to empathize more with ourselves and other people. This can improve your relationship when you think about how you self-reflect on things that happen in the house. And this leads to lifelong learning, right? This action, this self-reflecting allows you to start to kind of grow, to improve, to think about those areas that you need to improve in. And what are some ways that you self-reflect? Does anybody do anything interesting? Anybody journal? Journal, nice, great. What do? I do these like to-do lists where did I exercise? Did I do my yoga? Did I do, that's how I reflect on mine. You can do like a happy face for the day as well. Sometimes I just like doing that. Mindfulness, meditation, people talk about sewing, okay? Any kind of creative activities can help you reflect. Reading and learning. And then the last thing, and I think it's really hard, I think sometimes it's hard to self-reflect without some kind of support, whether it's from friends, colleagues, teachers, professionals, okay? So yeah, always a plug. Please seek help. What are some ways that you self-reflect on your teaching? These should be popping up, but does anybody do anything like this to keep your lesson plans, your notes? Yeah, great. I used to do this as well, and that's how I kind of improve my lesson plans every year. Self-assessments, does anybody do like a little just what went well in the class? Watch recorded teaching videos. I think this is one of the greatest things for me about teaching online was just having those videos and actually watching them again and saying, okay, I think I am funny. Action research, which is just kind of taking those things and kind of taking what you want to improve and kind of being systematic about it, right? And then the last thing is always collect data. I think this is something that I've learned from my graduate school days is just collect as much information as I can, whether it's these feedbacks I get from my students or assessments, looking at how well my students did on, 10 years ago, an essay versus 10 years now, the essays that my students are writing. And this is something I'm going to be talking about, this feedback from students as well before I get into reflective practice groups. All right, so this quadrant doesn't matter, okay? This is the abyss, okay? It's unknown to yourself and it's unknown to others. We don't need that, right? That's like only God knows that. Not even you know this, okay? So just, I don't know, carry your, yeah. This is where we want to be, okay? Whenever we talk about feedback and reflection, and kind of improving ourselves, we need to be in this blind self, the blind spot, okay? This is where you don't have information that somebody else does, okay? And you can think about the classroom, you can think about your professional life, you can think about administrators and all of that stuff, right? This is where we need information, okay? And this is where we can get information from students as teachers, right? We can do KWL charts if you do the know, what you know, what you want to know, what you learn, okay? It is a reflective practice for your student, but it also allows you to see how well students are doing. Anybody do exit forms at all? Just kind of like one question, Thorn Rosebud, yeah? Okay, so just asking students one thing they learned, one thing they want to know more about. Any of those kind of forms. I also do Google Forms. I find it's lovely because I can collect this data. It gives me all these cool charts. I can put it into a spreadsheet. I can mail it to their parents. I don't know. Any others that you can think about student feedback, getting feedback from your students? I think there's one really simple one. Just saying, how was my class? And I find that that's like usually kind of, I don't know, just really nice to hear. Like, oh, you know, it was difficult, but I understand what you're trying to do. I want to talk about my experience teaching, kind of my first year of teaching in Ethiopia. I was in the Peace Corps. I taught at a high school, natural science. We were doing a science lesson about scientists. And so I gave a little presentation about different scientists, okay? And the timing of it was really strange. So I just did a midterm, and I asked my students for the midterm feedback. This is all handwritten, and it just happened to coincide with me giving this project, okay? So these are two examples. They're kind of hard to read. And this is the feedback. You know, they kind of scored me a little bit low. You are more interested in American scientists, doctors, whatever, and you are enforced us to know about America. What's America? For us, we also want to learn about Ethiopians. We have many scientists, doctors, and others. Your learning system is good. One negative idea, that's about you only focus on the case of America and other foreigners. What about Ethiopians? We are Ethiopians. And it just happened to be, you know, these two things where I asked for feedback for the midterm, the entire year. And what I actually got feedback was for this presentation I did. And I was shocked, and I was very humbled by that. I went back the next day. I looked up all the Ethiopian African-American scientists. I found an Ethiopian scientist who was working for NASA, and I just said, can we restart over? You know, and I went into the classroom and I restarted that presentation for this project about creating, you know, a poster for their scientists of choice, and that they could choose any scientist. I had a blind spot, you know, and I was like, I wasn't even aware that what I was doing was offending my students. And some of my students did stick up for me, you know, but it was this moment as a first year teacher at a high school, first time really running a classroom, that I felt very, I don't know the word, you know, but I felt very humbled by that experience. So getting student feedback, I think, is very humbling. A lot of times it does bring up a lot of negative emotions, and I think as teachers we need to work through that. It can also be very motivating. I find that it's something that really pushes me to be a better teacher, which always improves our teaching, okay? So that's one way to get rid of the blind self, right? We get feedback from our students. Again, coming back to this. There's other ways. We talked about team teaching. People mentioned that as a survey, peer coaching, observations, and reflective practice groups. Okay. So reflection plus social constructivism. This is you working together with your peers. We want to allow you to choose your own peers so that you can be comfortable, whether it's based on the skills that you're teaching or proximity, friendships, long-lasting things. You guys play tennis together. I don't know. Maybe you're all moms and you want to also, you know, share about that. That'd be wonderful. But this is a particular way for teachers to regularly and systematically reflect on their practice in a supportive, collegial environment, free from evaluation. So there is no administration coming down on you, okay? Whatever you discuss, it's all confidential. You're gonna be building trust with this. We're just aiming for higher teacher efficacy, right? So we're talking about how we can increase these standards for Ege University. This could be one of these ways, right? Increase student learning. And I really want you guys to think about teacher expectation as well as student achievement, okay? So this includes doing things like dialogues, study readings, action research groups, working on syllabi, material, lesson planning together, okay? So if you're all in the reading skills class, you can develop these materials together and share with each other, and hopefully in a highlight session share with everybody. So, you know, all of these things will cascade, and this can work as a support group, right? So we're talking about ways to prevent burnout, prevent people from retiring early. We need teachers, okay? As Asinam told me to say. Principles, okay? We're gonna be building ground rules, okay? We'll be talking about that next week as we talk about kind of more of the culture of Ege University School of Foreign Language. Collaborative skills, group autonomy, okay? We want you to work on your own. We want equal opportunity. We want you to be individually accountable to your group, right? I feel like when you build trust, you don't want to let people down. And low effective. So whatever that means for you, we'll be talking about how, when, where, why you're going to be doing this more. But we want to build trust, confidentiality, and professionalism. Okay? So a reflective practice group is not a regular staff meeting to discuss school problems and criticisms. Okay, you can do that before, just send it on the chat. A group to resolve all your problems? No, that does not exist. Okay, that's in the unknown. Nobody knows how to solve all your problems. Don't talk about your personal problems unless really interfere. You can also have a support group. You can call us CPBU. We'll just have a counseling session. And it's not an informal chat. Okay. And what I mean by that is you're going to be taking minutes. You're going to have a report, and this is kind of the accountability that we would like to see. And we'll have more details. Okay. We're going to figure out the schedule. We're going to have a set of topics and themes, questions, burning questions, issues that you guys can discuss. We'll have them so that you're ready to do this. And we're going to be hammering out the details. So maybe we'll send out another survey and you guys can give us some suggestions. All right, I think I'm done. Any questions about that? Oh, thank you. All right, so yeah, the goals. We're trying to increase everything. And we want to match it, right? Just increase everything, whatever it is. Increase the chatter, increase the fun, increase the learning. All right. That's it. Salaries, money, more travel time, more days off. And I think we're done. So any questions for any of us, any comments or suggestions? I always take these as feedback.
I'd like to ask a question.
Yes.
Maybe it's not on the point.
Okay.
But maybe it is. I'd like to ask you, when you first arrived as a multicultural, educated multicultural.
Yeah, there's many terms. Translingual, like.
Okay. When you first arrived here in our department, what did you see as a strength and as a weakness?
I mean that's a hard, because when I came here it was all online, right? So I didn't see a culture. And I haven't seen a culture. And I'm gonna be frank. I'm gonna be frank, and maybe this was like a call to action, is I haven't really had any social interactions and gatherings. And I think maybe in 4 years, coming out of the cave of pandemic and online and your little home offices, I feel that there's a need for this, whether it's gonna be in small groups, your friend groups, just send me an invite, I'll come, but I don't know, and that's what I'm looking for.
Okay, I'll ask you again then later on.
Yeah, please ask me again. I think academically, I will speak off the record. I think, we can all work together a lot more. I think there could be a lot more collaboration, synergy between all units, and I think that includes getting feedback from teachers. I think we need to see this feedback about how the assessment went for you, what was unclear about it, how could we do these better. I think that that's something lacking in our culture at the moment, is that there is no channel for giving feedback. And so I think maybe what we can do this year is kind of building these groups back, building our in-person. I haven't been in an office in 4 years. I'm terrified of all these faces out there. And so if I don't remember your name, just keep saying it, I remember all my students' names, but I can't remember somebody that I meet after 5 seconds, So let's build that. I want to know everybody's name. I want to know why I should remember your name, and what kind of interesting things, right? You remember your students because they're bad. And you remember your good students, but the students kind of in the middle, that don't stand out in any way. I want you to show me why I should remember your name, which isn't like a threat. It's more of a talk to me. Tell me something interesting.
Welcome to our
Thank you. It's good to be here. I'm glad that I'm here and part of this team. So thank you everybody for coming, and we will see you next week. I took 10 minutes of your life. I'll give it back next time.